When we see depictions of dogfighting in the movies, or training exercises that the military conducts, we get the impression that an extremely high level of skill is required of a pilot to outmaneuver his or her opponent in air-to-air combat. This is absolutely true. However, it's important to recognize that this skill is not just manual dexterity. The method of control input hasn't changed very much over the past century of flight. The Wright Flyer had a control harness and a series of cables to translate the motion of the pilot's shifting body into a patented warping or twisting of the entire wing, which would roll the aircraft to the left or the right.
For millennia, humanity has wanted to reach into the heavens, to fly above the planet. We have seen this in numerous instances throughout our history, in Greek mythology.
During World War I, there was a breakthrough. A man by the name of Hugo Junkers in Germany wanted to design an all-metal airplane. He needed to do something important before he could do that. He needed to have a thick wing, a thick airfoil, so he could put a big spar internally in that wing.
The Bell UH-1, known universally as the Huey, was a transformation in aeronautical technology. When this aircraft first flew in 1956, it represented the maturation of the helicopter. Before then, the helicopter was a useful battlefield tool. However, it had significant limitations. In the Korean War, for instance, wounded had to ride in stretchers on the outside of the helicopter and would frequently be subjected to frostbite and other conditions.
When you're flying an airplane at Mach 3, the surface temperature will exceed 600 degrees. The airplane will grow 3 to 4 inches in length, an inch or 2 in width. Aluminum can't be used, so 93% of the aircraft is made of titanium. Special fuels had to be created, JP7, to withstand the high temperatures. Normal fuel has a flash point of minus 40 degrees. JP7 is a plus 335.
When the space shuttle was designed, the goal was to create a reusable orbiter that could be used again and again to lower the cost of spaceflight and to avoid having disposable spacecraft. And so the wings are another indicator of that, because the spacecraft had wings and could glide safely to a landing on Earth. It could be serviced on the ground and could fly again. And in fact, the 5 space shuttle orbiters flew a combined total of 135 missions over a 30-year period. That too had never been done before. But the other distinctive feature of the space shuttle is not evident from a distance, but as you walk closer and closer to it, you see that its surface coverings are quite varied. There's a lot of texture there.
We're at the Aviation Institute of Maintenance in Manassas, Virginia. I'm sitting in a Beech Queen Air, and we're going to take a look at the flight instruments and how they're put together. These are the 6-pack of instruments here. We've got the airspeed indicator, attitude indicator, altimeter, vertical speed, the heading indicator, and the yaw bank coordinator. For the controls, I've got the control stick here for the roll control. As I decelerate and pitch the nose up, a loud, obnoxious noise sounds in the cockpit. This is the stall warning horn, which is required on aircraft. Its sole purpose is to warn the pilot of an impending stall so that corrective action can be taken before a full stall develops. In this case, I'm ignoring the stall warning horn. Now, as I enter the stall, the tufts show how the airflow is changing. The initial evidence of unsteadiness in tufts appears for a time before the stall rapidly overtakes the full chord of the wing. Loss of control of the aircraft is the leading cause of general aviation accidents. So it's really important for pilots to be well prepared for this event should it occur. The glide path angle is important because it directly dictates how far we can glide. We can easily see that by looking at a triangle representing the glide path. Each cross-section is an individual airfoil. However, the velocity seen by the airfoil has... So in summary, a 4-stroke engine is composed of the intake stroke, the compression stroke, the power stroke, and the exhaust stroke. One of the most significant tools is to change the distribution of lift across the span of the wing. We can think of lift distribution as the fractional contribution of the overall lift that is present at a given span-wise location. This is why the Supermarine Spitfire, a World War II fighter aircraft, was built with an elliptical-shaped wing. With this elliptical lift distribution, the induced drag was minimized. We describe the amount of slenderness of the wing by defining an aspect ratio, which is the square of the wingspan divided by the wing area. For a rectangular wing, this would simply be span divided by chord. To be more specific, we call the pressure term in Bernoulli the static pressure. The second term, containing velocity, must have units of pressure in order to be dimensionally consistent with the summation. We call this second term the dynamic pressure. The summation of these two, static pressure plus dynamic pressure, is called total pressure, which is always constant under the conditions where the Bernoulli equation is valid. Let's revisit the example of driving down the highway with our hand out the window. The static pressure under these conditions is equal to the local barometric pressure. The dynamic pressure is found from the air density and the speed of your vehicle. And finally, the total pressure is the sum of the two. When you extend your hand out the window of your car, with your palm facing forward, the pressure that you feel on the palm of your hand is the total pressure, since the flow along a streamline comes to a rest at a stagnation point on your palm.